Welcome to the Intuitive Websites Internet Marketing Podcast, bringing you the country's top podcast on the subject of internet marketing. I'm your host, Glenn Thayer, and with me today, I've got the CEO of Intuitive Websites, Thomas Young. Tom, let's talk about the Contact Us page. What is so important about the Contact Us page, aside, of course, from taking that conversion to the next level where that prospect can actually contact you so you can make a sale?
That's right. You can't make a sale unless someone contacts you. Here's the bottom line, and we just did a podcast on the About Us page. And I look at these two pages, About Us and Contact Us, and I think there's probably, these are two of the pages that are most overlooked on websites, most not thought about enough, but usually included on every website. I mean, most websites have an About Us and a Contact Us page, and not all do, and they should. But the Contact Us page, number one, is every site needs one. It should be right in the main navigation system, easy to find. You've got to take this very seriously. This page is in itself a conversion. If someone comes to this page, your website is doing a dang good job. Because think about it. If no matter what kind of company you have, what more can a website do for you than drive people into the page that says, I want to get a hold of you? But we just don't we don't take it seriously. We don't give enough thought. A lot of times, Contact Us pages are in footers. They're down at the bottom of the website, the bottom right of a website where they'll never be found. They're not even in the main navigation system. They're not always called Contact Us, or in that case, About Us. Sometimes people come up with these creative names for these pages, or they bury them in the navigation system. I've seen Contact Us pages on pull-down menus for either About Us or something like that. And no, it needs to be a main navigation item right on the main navigation on all pages. And a part of your conversion strategy, the site should work to drive people to the Contact Us page.
Now, on another thing, and I know we mentioned this briefly on the last podcast, as far as having brief contact information, like at least a phone number on all the pages that are out there. So there's an instant point of contact. So you come to that website, you go to the homepage. I know there's a lot of times I'll go to homepages where I just want the phone number. I don't care for any other information. I'm just looking to call them, and I'm going to look for that homepage and see if there's a phone number on it. And then
it's amazing to me. I mean, we've talked about this in the podcast for a couple years now. It is have contact information on all pages of your website. That has to be there. But the Contact Us page can do more than that. In fact, there's 5 ways that people can contact most companies
from a Contact Us page.
From a Contact Us page, or just in general. And it may be more. I mean, in fact, we may have forgotten a couple ways, because maybe there's with social networking or whatever, there's other ways. But here are the 5 ways.
In a Contact Us page, these are the things that you should have.
These are the 5. Phone number. and phone number, you think about a lot of things when you think of phone. Phone numbers aren't always that easy to do. For example, do you have a toll-free number? Well, if you're doing consumer work, then yes. If you're selling to consumers, you've got to have a toll-free number. If you're doing B2B, from a strategic standpoint, I don't know if a toll-free number is that important. Companies don't generally use toll-free numbers to get in touch with one another. If your clients request a toll-free number, then certainly do that. Or if you feel it's important to your strategy, do that. Also, have a general phone number where someone will answer the phone, or a general place where people can go, a central location, and then reach other folks. In your About Us section, if you have a sales team, you might think about having their phone number listed, but definitely have a phone number. And don't take the strategy that we've seen, on the web of, we don't need a phone number. They have to contact us via the web. It's a straight numbers game. You have these 5 ways to contact you, and people just prefer one or the other. Give them what they prefer. So that's number 1 is phone.
And that's a really, really interesting point right there with the email, because I don't know how many times I've seen things come back where they just want to have a conversation via email. And this is a prime example. If you're going back and forth and you're listening to this podcast and thinking to yourself, I really don't need a phone number because I don't talk to my clients. Most of the stuff's done via email. Take it from a client side, and I know that you and I both, Tom, have dealt with clients that there's times when they prefer email.
Absolutely, yeah.
But using an email conversation, you're going 4 hours with this email conversation with that conversation could have been handled in under 5 minutes with a phone call.
Right. It could have. Absolutely. Because you have to interact with those questions. And the bottom line is interact the way your customer or client wants to interact. And give them the option. If they're going to use the phone, use the phone. The second one is email. So first is phone, second is email. If you look at email, it's really, it's matured now as a communication tool. And it's real interesting to see what's happened is it's matured. And what you see is that some people love email. They're great on it. They communicate all the time via email. I do that. I know, Glenn, you're really good on email. But then there are other people that aren't so good on email. They check it once a day, maybe every other day. They forget to check it. If you're going to try to sell or market, you have got to be good in all five of these. You've got to be able to answer the phone, listen to voicemail. You've got to be good with email. An email address, even a general email address, should be on your contact us page.
This is something else as far as, and I've heard different ideas on the email. What should the email be on your website? Because I know if I look at an email and it says support at yourcompany.com or sales at yourcompany.com, from a consumer standpoint or even on a B2B standpoint, I think that email is kind of going out there into the void.
Going into limbo, yeah.
Instead of having somebody, we mentioned this with having the About Us, what if there's a specific person that usually answers the email? Here's the team, where if you have a small, clearly if you're dealing with a large company like Comcast or you're dealing with Bank of America or something to that effect, it's a different story. There's a lot of people that are handling that. If you're a smaller company, though, I have always found if I have an email with somebody's name in it.
I think that's a good point. And even in a smaller company, you could, just have that person's name and it may not even go to that person every time, but at least it's getting someone's looking at it. I think what's more important is that you have a note saying that we respond to emails within X amount of time. And then respond. I mean, just respond. It is such a pleasant surprise, when you click an email and you say, well, I'll give this a shot. I'll probably never hear from them, but what the heck? And you click on info at whatever or support at, and then they get back with you the next day. It's like a very pleasant surprise because you feel like, man, they care about me as a customer.
And if you're a smaller company, the email, the response, and I've always found this, if I get a response from a website that says, hi, this is from Bill Smith at yourcompany.com. Thanks for your interest. We're going to be in contact with you. Even if it's an autoresponder, I feel like I'm getting an auto-response from a real person. Yeah. Not, this came from support at, or this came from customer service at. A real person, at least if it seems like a real person, it gives that touch and it'll move you closer to a conversion.
Absolutely.
And the other thing I wanted to touch on is autoresponders. That's, as far as email is concerned with autoresponders, what are your thoughts on that? Because there's a lot of times people will contact us. You might have different options. Contact us for, to move through different portions of the sales cycle. Yeah. If somebody wants more information, maybe you have an autoresponder that responds with a PDF that says, here's all the information to get you started. You might have another question that says, if you're already ready to talk to somebody in sales, here's this contact.
Well, I think autoresponders are a kind of a way of saying, they're kind of testing the waters with me. If I was a customer or a client, and I would feel the same way with our clients, it would almost be saying like, I'm putting you off for now, but I'll be back. And so the customer's got to be thinking, well, you got me a little bit here, but still not completely. I think be careful with autoresponders. One rule of thumb would be to keep it very simple and have it look like a personalized message. And always let them know, we're going to be in touch within X amount of time. We respond within 24 hours. We respond that day or next day. Maybe even have your hours of operation listed. So if they contact you after 5 p.m., they know that you'll get back with them the next day. But I do know for a fact, and I've seen this for years in my business, is that the faster you respond, the more efficiently you respond, the more conversions you're going to get. The slower and the more, the worse response you give, the fewer conversions. So just keep that equation in mind. It depends on what your goals are for your business. Most companies now are trying to grow and they want the sales. So get the formula in place of fast response, efficient response.
Now, talking about another way, not all corporate America, not all companies will allow you to send emails on websites from the corporate server. So
that's right.
How can somebody handle that? What's an easy way to handle that?
Well, we covered number 1 was phone, number 2 is email, number 3 is forms. And it's, I review a lot of websites, and I don't know the percentage, but There's certainly a lot of them that don't have a form. They just have the phone number or just have an email.
And that's just and what you're talking about is an email form that you fill out and hit submit.
It's submit form. You complete the form, keep it, and submit it. We've talked about forms in the podcast. The shorter the form, the more conversions you get. The longer the form, the more you qualify people that come to the site. And sometimes you want to qualify people. But what you said is exactly true. Not everyone has access to email on the computer they are working on. So give them an opportunity to submit a form. And that's number 3. Very, very important. Keep it simple. Keep the form simple. Really just ask them for their name, their email, and what their issue is, a box to put their issue in.
Now, what about a fax number? Because I know that today, it's interesting because I look at business over the last 10 years and use of a fax machine, it's almost becoming obsolete for the most part. How important is having a fax number on your Contact Us page?
Well, I have a 10-year-old fax machine sitting in my office. I'm thinking, what am I going to do with that? But I think what's going to happen with fax, and this is what we're going to do, is it's going to convert to email. So faxes will convert to email PDFs. I think that's where you're going to go with faxes. I think you still should have the fax number on your Contact Us page, and it should go to an email address. So whoever's faxing you, it'll end up as a PDF in your email box. And interestingly enough, we didn't talk about this, but with the use of phones and voicemail, I think where we're heading in the future is also that voicemail will end up in your email box. So what'll happen is you'll see your email, you'll click on it to play it, as opposed to click on it to read it.
And that's happening already with a lot of the voice over IP services like Vonage or anything where you're getting your internet voice.
It's happening, but it's nowhere near mainstream. It'll be mainstream when 2 or 3 companies adopt it, and when Google, who's already started playing around with it, Google and Apple and Microsoft, when they really adopt this technology, start including it, then it'll just explode and take off. I know for me, being such an email geek that I am, it's hard for me to remember to go back to voicemail. If I listen to a voicemail and I don't react on it pretty quickly, I'm back on my email and it's gone. So I know there's some issues. It's October 2009 when we're recording this podcast, and there's some issues going on right now between Google and Apple and AT&T over how visual voicemail can show up in email, and there's some licensing issues. They just need to learn to get along, and they will eventually, and it'll help everyone out, and we'll be able to get our AT&T voicemail on our Google Gmail or on our email client, whatever we're using.
Right.
But that's going to be a very interesting use of the phone, and also use of fax numbers too, because you can have a fax machine at your desk and it basically becomes a scanner. You scan the document into the fax machine, it emails out, and then you have the document there. So let's say you have a picture or some notes or other information that you don't have it digitized and you want to get that to support at a company. Boom, fax it in. They've got it on their email. They can look at it. I think it's a real efficient way to do that.
Now, what else should be on there? Because I know that most people are going through, okay, I got my phone number, got the email, got a form, got my fax number. Really, what else do I need on the form?
Yeah, it's funny that people leave this off quite often, and that is driving directions to your office. Where are you located and how do you get there? And I know it's happening every day. It's probably happened thousands of times just today, this morning. Someone says, I need to go out and see these people. Where are they located? I can't find where they're located. Where are they located? And also keep in mind that Google Maps and that type of technology doesn't cover the entire country. There's a lot of streets that are not covered in Google Maps. Newer streets, streets that have some funky thing going on. You need to have your own set of driving instructions and your location. I would actually have a picture of your building with your address, with a driving map, and you could even put things in there like travel times, especially if you're in a big metro area where everybody knows the suburbs and that sort of thing. Just say driving time from different areas. You could even go a step further and put in when not to drive there, when the traffic's terrible, when are the optimal driving times, that sort of thing.
But here's something that some of our listeners, I know, are going to go, well, I work from home. I have a home office. I don't meet with clients at my house.
Yeah, so then you probably don't have it driving.
Would that be something where it would be advisable to get a P.O. box and make sure and put your P.O. box so at least somebody wants to send you a letter either of recommendation or comments? hey, I want you to improve this, and they want to mail it to you, because there are people that still want to go the old school methods and actually physically write a letter.
Yeah, sometimes you have to drop something in the mail. I think that driving directions and locations really is dependent on your strategy. The first 4 everyone should do, but the 5th one, driving directions and locations, different kinds of businesses have different needs here. I do think that you can think outside the box. So, I mean, if you're let's say you're a manufacturer and you sell to distributors, and someone comes to the Contact Us page, you might want to put distributor locations on the Contact Us page, because what they're really trying to do is get a hold of you to get your products. Well, if they come out to the corporate office, you're going to have to send them to the local
distributor
store
anyway.
Yeah,
right.
yeah. So put the distributors, or put a link to your distributors there so they can find you. Anything that you feel can drive a conversion should be on that contact page. So I mean, I think, but definitely have these 5, and they're posted on the blog if you didn't catch them as we were talking.
So how does the Contact Us page drive conversions specifically?
Well, number one, it is a conversion, and like I said, if a website that's driving good traffic to the Contact Us page, let's say 5 to 10% of your visitors go to Contact Us, that's a good website. That's a really good website. Users are visiting them to get that page to get a hold of you. They're not visiting that page to just bounce around and say, oh, what the heck, let's take a look. So make it easy for them to contact you. Other things you can include on the page are photos of the contact person or key salespeople. We're just attracted to photos. If we see a photo, trust and credibility goes up, and it's easier to contact them.
I think we were talking about that too in email. If you have, here's your contact person, this is the person you're contacting, here is their email address, this is the person that you'll be in touch with.
Have their business email. Hours of operation, include that, so they know if they call at a certain time and they get voicemail, then that's why. And let them know when you'll be getting back to them, and the preferred method for getting back to them. Focus on the action and don't have too much content on this page. This is not a page for a lot of content. Just brief little bullet points, small little reminders. Let people take the action. Make it easy for them. The easier it is for them to do that, the higher the probability that once they visit the page, they'll actually take the next step and contact you.
Now what about e-commerce sites? Because clearly there's going to be different reasons of contacting people on an e-commerce site than there is just a business site. Hey, I want more information. Hey, let's do business. You've got an e-commerce site. You're dealing with returns. You're dealing with sales. You're dealing with shipping. There's a whole different,
the whole customer service,
a whole different side.
Well, it's funny that the one thing that you don't want to do if you're an e-commerce site is not have a Contact Us page. Don't assume that just because you're an e-commerce website that the contact will happen through the order or through a channel that you've set up. I think you definitely need to have the Contact Us page. Having a shopping cart doesn't mean that you don't contact people. What I think the Contact Us page can do on an e-commerce site is not only can it be a link to customer service and to help with the shopping process, people should be able to continue shopping from this page. They should be able to call you from this page or contact you and do their shopping. Reinforce your brand or your special offer on this page, and think of people as, well, think of it this way. The Contact Us page is the sales clerk in the store. This is the salesperson that's out there that they can go to and get some help that's beyond the website. So think of it as the conversion strategy for people that need more than what they're seeing on the actual website.
So Tom, what about people who aren't comfortable putting orders on the web? They've heard all of the information out there. If you put your credit card online, it'll be stolen and people will charge and steal your identity. I mean, how can somebody do that? Would you say like a fax order would be the way to look at it?
Either they have issues about security or they just can't seem to get what they want from the website. And we've seen this in user testing. It's very, very common. There's other ways for them to place orders. They can pick up the phone and call someone and place an order. They should be able to do a secure submit form. They could send an order via email. Hey, I'm interested in this product. Can I order it from you? If you do a submit form, make sure it's secure, because they could also send a secure form and order. I think really the bottom line for a Contact Us page on an e-commerce site is that it's simple, easy to use. You do some user testing on it to get feedback from people, and really think of it as a place where people are going to go and continue to buy and to shop, not just contact you for information, but continue to buy and shop.
Wonderful. And what would you say the action items are for our listeners this week?
Well, you want to have a Contact Us link on all your main navigation, make it very relevant. You need to have contact information on all pages of your site, and also a link to the Contact Us page on your main navigation, which should be on all pages of every of the entire website. Track conversions to this page. In fact, set it up as a key conversion in your Google Stats or in your AdWords program, especially if you're generating leads. It should be a key conversion.
And if you're confused about what the stats are specifically, go back through the podcast. We do have podcasts, a lot of podcasts on stats.
And then it's got to be very easy to use, simple to use, and conduct some user testing. And we have podcasts on that as well to figure out how to incorporate it into your strategy for either generating leads or if you have an e-commerce site generating sales. It's more important to do user testing for the Contact Us page on more complex websites, because if people are bouncing all over the place on your site and there's lots of pages to look at, we want to make sure that they can still always come back to Contact Us to create that final conversion and hopefully create a relationship with someone that's going to be a client or a customer.
Thanks so much, Tom. And folks, we appreciate all those comments that you're putting out on the web and on iTunes. We're still getting a lot of those. Thank you so much. Keep telling us what you like and what you want to hear. We're happy to cover other things. If we miss something and you say, I want to know more information about this particular subject, let us know. Put those comments on. Well, thanks so much, and we'll be bringing the next podcast to you shortly. Thanks.
This has been an Intuitive Websites Internet Marketing Podcast. For more information and to see all the available podcasts and much more, visit intuitiveblog.com.